Hey, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the AIDA Marketing Funnel, exactly what it is, how you can use it to supercharge any type of marketing that you're doing for your business, and if you stick around until the end, I'm going to give you a fundamental marketing sort of strategy using the AIDA Funnel that I usually recommend for people when they're starting off first advertising their brand, whether that's digitally, be it through Facebook or Google ads, or if you're just doing a regular, old-fashioned marketing campaign. Stick around.
See, I grew up in a small business family, so I know what it's like to have 1,000 questions.
We're going to get started off by first talking about what is the AIDA Marketing Funnel, just holistically. The most general version of this idea starts off with 4 steps that every individual, including yourself, will usually go through when you're making any sort of purchase. Okay, and depending on the type of industry, the product you're buying, or even just the type of customer you are, it can take you anywhere from 5 seconds to go through this entire process to even months. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. One big thing you want to remember here is that it's sort of shaped like a funnel. The top is wider than the bottom. And the idea there is as people go through these 4 stages, they'll become filtered out. And only those that are serious will get to the next level. So in the beginning, you start off with a really broad understanding of just random people essentially kind of thrown together. And by the end of it, only those that are dedicated buyers that have taken some sort of action that you want them to take stick around. And we'll talk about why this is important in a second. So why is this completely useful? Well, 3 main reasons. 1, the structure that it provides to all your marketing. I think one of the most complicated parts about running a small business or starting your own venture, your startup, is how many things you need to get done. I mean, between Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, and then forget marketing. Think about sales, packaging, working with manufacturers, working with customers. There's too much going on at once. So the more structures that you can set up for yourself, the better off you are creating systems that'll automatically work for you without you having to put much thought into them. There's the second part is it's communicable. You can communicate it well. By putting words and terms and understanding the jargon of the marketing terms, you're able to create a system that you can easily communicate to the rest of your team, right? So instead of running around and saying, oh my God, make sure you do XYZ thing, right? And everyone's like, well, oh, I thought that was this, or it's simple. There's a common language that everyone understands and everyone knows what the plan is. And the last part is because it's visual. And again, that kind of goes into the communication side of things, is that it's very easy for you to share exactly what your plan is, what the thinking is, what the mindset is, without you having to waste time to explain every little detail, because people can actually see what's going on. Okay, we're gonna start off by talking about awareness. Now, awareness is that first stage that people will go through, and it's essentially just people becoming aware of the fact that your brand or your industry or your product even exists for the first time. From there, people go on to the second stage, which is called interest. And here, people actually become interested in hearing about your product, about your brand. And here's where they're also dealing with all the competitors and like sort of really getting an understanding of like, okay, I'm aware of the fact that this product, this item exists. So now I'm interested in learning more about you and what your competitors are offering and what everyone else is sort of in this field offering and why this matters. The third step is desire. Here, it's like, okay, I'm aware of the fact that your product or your industry exists. I am interested in learning more. By the way, I've done all this learning, and now I have a desire to buy your product. I have a desire to lean towards your brand, your version of this as opposed to anyone else's. And lastly, you get action. I'm aware of the fact you exist. I was interested enough to go search and look into every little detail. I have decided that my desire is to work with you. And now I'm finally taking that action that you want me to take, whether that's you want me to make a purchase or you just want me to sign up for my email address. Your job is to get people to go through each of the stages. And a way to do that is to craft a messaging that matches each and every single one of those stages. We talked about what the customer or the person going through the stages will feel. I'm aware you exist, blah, blah, blah. Well, what would your messaging look like? Well, for awareness, it's pretty simple. Hi, we exist. Notice I'm not talking about the product, or I'm not talking about features, or I'm not talking about prices. Just saying, hey, we're a brand, we exist. In interest, you're saying, well, this is our product, what it does, and how it's better than our competition. See, now you're getting into the nitty-gritty details. You're not starting by bombarding people at awareness with all these details. Awareness, you're just saying, hi, we exist. At interest, you're giving them more information because they've asked for information. They've said, hey, I'm interested in learning more. In desire, the messaging shifts to, hi, we exist. This is our product. Isn't our product perfect for you? Aren't you excited? It's that idea of like, look, we are the best option for you, right? We are what you want, right? So desire us, right? Over all our competitors. Lastly, you get over to action, right? Here you're saying, hi, we exist. Here's our product. It fits perfectly, doesn't it? Well, great. Here is the exact next step you are going to take in order to complete the action that you want at the end of this. You are going to go on our site, click buy. You are going to go on our site, enter your email to sign up for our email list. You are going to go to YouTube and subscribe. Speaking of which, if you're interested in content like this, please make sure to follow or subscribe depending on which platform you're seeing this on. We break down high-level concepts into actionable tips that you can use right away so that you can spend more time actually growing your business. So now we're going to talk through an example, right? And remember, when I first started off this video, I talked about this idea that depending on the type of product you're buying and the type of customer you are, going through this entire funnel can take you 5 seconds or it can take you months. Say you're buying a car, you're probably going to take a couple weeks at least to go through those entire stages, right? You're going to research, you're going to get all your details. Say you're in a mall and you see a t-shirt, maybe it'll take you 5 seconds. Oh, I'm aware the t-shirt exists. I'm interested. I'm looking around. Macy's has one. JCPenney's has one. Aeropostale has one. And then, nope, you know what? I want the Macy's one. I'm going to go buy from Macy's. Went through each one of the stages really quickly. Let's take the example of running shoes, right? Say I'm someone who wants to buy running shoes and I search them up on Google. And now suddenly I become aware of the fact that there are all these other brands, right? Oh, like there's Nike, there's Adidas, there's New Balance, there's ASICS. So I go, okay, well, this is pretty cool. But now I start looking into, well, what are the actual shoes like? What are the features? What are the prices, right? At this point, I'm no longer looking only at the brands. I'm now looking at their actual product. I'm exploring the features. Oh, the Nike shoes are built like this, the Adidas ones are like this, the New Balance ones have these extra foam. I'm looking at all these details. In Desire, suddenly now I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stick with the Nike shoes, right? I've looked around, Nike seems to have like the best options for me personally, and they also have this one shoe in these different variations that I'm kind of into, right? Now from the desire to the action stage is where I go, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with this specific version of the shoes that I was looking at, and I'm gonna make that purchase. You see how we go through each one of those stages? Look at the most recent purchase you made. Chances are you went through this thought process, whether it took you 5 seconds or a couple months to make it. As I promised, I'm also gonna share with you guys an example marketing plan that I usually recommend to people when they first start off in advertising their brand, right? Whether that's through Facebook ads, Google ads. This is more focused towards digital marketing, but you could also use this as any sort of marketing that you do. One thing I wanna go over real quick. Anytime you put an advertisement in front of a potential customer, you're essentially asking them to ask themselves tons of questions. So if you have an ad that has price, different colors, quantities, like or competitors, blah, blah, the individual is essentially going to themselves, do I want red or blue? Do I want to buy from this guy or a competitor? Is this price too cheap or is this price too expensive? The more questions you ask, the more confused the customer gets and the more they put off making those decisions because there's too many. So be aware of which questions you're asking of them and posing in front of them. You want to make it tighter. The less questions you ask, the more chance you have of them actually getting to the next step. Keep that in mind. I'll explain why. So we start off with the awareness side of things. You just want people to get to know, hey, my brand exists. My recommendation, create a 30-second to 1-minute video about your brand, right? Who are you? What do you stand for? You're not talking about your product. You're not talking about your prices, your features, blah, blah. No, we are XYZ brand. This is what we stand for. Here's a bunch of happy, smiling people, right? Here's our product kind of coming in and out of frame. I'm not talking specifically about it, but I'm telling you, here are the emotions I want you to associate with my brand. The question you're posing for the customer at that point, for them to ask themselves, am I interested in this brand? Yes or no? It's a very simple question. Those of them that are like, nah, I don't care about this brand, they'll keep moving. The ones that are, they'll interact with some way, right? And the way you're gonna do this is by running a brand awareness campaign. For those of you that don't know, brand awareness campaigns, you're just pretty much telling Facebook or Google, like, hey, I just want to show people this ad because I want them to get to know my brand. All right, and I'll explain why this is important. But one of the big benefits of that is, especially when you're working on Facebook or something, is because that doesn't lead people to leaving Facebook, they'll tend to most, like, don't quote me on this, it'll be one of the cheaper options of when you're actually doing a digital marketing campaign. So yeah, I would start off with the brand video and I would just go really wide. Target it towards anyone that I can possibly think of that I think would be interested in my brand, right? And focus only on emotions. And I would then create a second video where I actually explain my product, its features, compare it to the competitors, right? And then for this campaign, I would run what is called a remarketing campaign, which is essentially when you target individuals that have already interacted with your brand in some way. In this campaign, I will tell Facebook or Google and say, hey, I want you to target anyone who has seen my original brand video when they were in the awareness section, has then watched that video for more than 75% of it, which essentially means that they were interested. And you can also add other stipulations like, oh, and has also liked or commented or shared that video. Now what you're doing is you've created a campaign that goes over your product, but you're only showing it to people who've already told you, hey, I'm actually interested in your brand. I want to learn more. Getting them from interest to desire, you're gonna run another remarketing campaign, this time following the same exact rule, right? I want you to target individuals that have watched my features, benefits, and competition video, or those videos for more than 75% of it have interacted in some way. I want you to show them these new videos I've created where I've kind of been like, hey, 50% off coming soon, or Happy Valentine's Day coming soon, or testimonials, right? Saying, hey, I bought this product and I love this product. I'm like you, and if I like this product, so you're gonna like this product. Prove to the people that, hey, there are a lot of options, but ours is the best for you to go with. That gets them into the desire stage. Lastly, with action, right? You create some sort of final offer, some urgency. With these marketing materials, I would do things like, hey, right now, buy this right now, 70% off. And here's exactly how you're gonna go do it. Go to our site, click buy, enter coupon code TikTok23, and go buy this thing right now. You incentivize them to immediately take some sort of action for you. In the top, you throw in a ton of people that you think may be interested. By the end of it, you're leaving with a bunch of customers. Let's take this to the next level now. You're gonna repeat this entire process. However, remember in the beginning when we were just saying, hey, for awareness, that initial brand awareness campaign, you're just gonna target anyone you think? You're now gonna tell Facebook, Google, and all these other digital marketing platforms, I want you to target lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences are essentially, a lot of these platforms have created groups or categories of people. We know that so-and-so is similar to so-and-so. If so-and-so buys an item, chances are so-and-so will also buy this item. You're now telling Google and Facebook, remember all those people that bought my item because they went through that funnel the last time? I want you to now find people that are similar to them and go take them through this funnel. Now what you'll notice is eventually you're getting more and more narrow, more and more specifically finding people that are most likely to actually go from the top to the bottom and make a purchase. That's good for you. Eventually, Google, Facebook, and all these other platforms will be telling you who your best customer is. For example, they might say your ideal customer is someone within the age range of 30 to 40 years old. They make 80K to 120K a year. They like sailing. They like boats. They are located in New Jersey and California, right? Now you have a ton of information about the ideal customer that typically will end up going through the entire process and actually making a purchase. Which means you can now create ads that specifically focus on New York, or you can find out, oh, boats, they like boats. Well, I'll take my product out on a boat and create an ad where I just use the product on a boat, right? It's a weird example, but the idea is you get more data and you can become more customer centric because of this data. Now, things to remember, this is just one tool, right? There's tons of tools. Speaking of which, make sure to hit that subscribe button or follow, depending on where you're seeing this, because I'll be going over a ton of other cool tools that you can use to help you automate and sort of really conceptualize your marketing plans. The second thing, the funneling effect. This one is some of the best funnels in the world, right? And this is backed up by a bunch of research, have like an average of 3%, which means if 100 people start at the top, 3% will make a purchase. So don't be discouraged if your numbers are low, right? It's expected. But also remember, that just means increase the number of people that are starting at the top, right? If you take that 100 to 1,000, now instead of just 3 people, you're getting 30 people making purchases. And eventually with lookalike audiences, we'll keep targeting people that are similar to those that are making purchases, which will further raise that 3%, ideally to even higher. And then the last thing I want you to remember is level-centric optimizing. Very complicated sounding word. All it means is track how many people are moving through each of the phases, right? And then find where is that problem? Where are people getting stuck? Where are we losing people the most? And optimize that. For example, if you find that people are moving from awareness to interest, that means that your interest videos are working pretty well, or your awareness videos are working pretty well, but only 5% of people are actually moving from interest to desire. What marketing are we using there? Can we make that marketing a little better? Is there a problem there? Is the video bad? Is the ad bad? Is there not enough money in the ad? It allows you to sort of optimize very, very specifically and find that problem area and tackle it. Overall, we went over the AIDA Marketing Funnel, exactly what it is, how you can use it in your business to supercharge all of your marketing, and I gave you a really easy to use sample marketing plan that you can use right away. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I want to conversate with you all. I want this to be something that's actually valuable to you, not just something that I'm creating for the sake of creating. I'm happy to answer your questions. Again, please make sure to subscribe because we'll be creating a bunch more content just like this. See you guys at the next video.